What's up guys, it's Talon here. In today's video, I'm going to be going over what I think of the new season. But before I get into this video guys, if you do enjoy my content or find what I'm telling you helpful, please drop a like on this video, hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. Also, if you wish to support me in another way, use code TALON.FN in the Fortnite item shop, #ad. Without further ado, let's just jump right in. Alright guys, you're probably wondering why I'm doing such a late reaction video, and that is actually going to be part of my first point with one of the good things that they've done this season. Now usually the Fortnite competitive season is started after preseason, and usually preseason is this pointless phase where no changes are made and then you just sit at Division 10 and arena points. For most competitive players, that's how it goes. This season is the only season in recent memory where they made significant amount of changes, and that is why I decided to wait and pump the brakes on my reaction video, because I mainly do competitive content and a lot of the stuff I would have been reacting to would not still be in the game. For example, they removed the heavy snipers, they removed rifts to goes, they removed shockwaves, they buffed the AUG, they nerfed the AUG, they buffed the shotguns, they've nerfed the SMG, the combat SMG. They've also made changes with cars, they've added bores, they've done a bunch of stuff, and most of the time they do not do that. In my memory, there was only 2 instances where changes were made in preseasons of Fortnite history, and that was the removal of Cuttlefish and the removal of the railgun. Everything else, the preseason has kind of served as this pointless, just gray, boring waiting period. So I think that is a gigantic positive. Now, another positive in my opinion is the map changes. I absolutely love what they've done, kind of one with the very aesthetically pleasing theme of all this like Avatar looking tree of life stuff. Reality Falls is my favorite POI in all of chapter 3. Even though I don't like fighting at Rave Cave, it's very cool and aesthetically pleasing. What they've done with Logjam, with creating 3 possible drop spots that when you land there is a very interesting and unique thing that they've never done in Fortnite, and is kind of like the block, except for the block would get changed every week from different creators making maps. This is again a very interesting and unique thing that they've done. I really do like that. I also like the hammer AR. It's not better than the AUG, but I believe it gives you some flexibility to use it as an SMG and an AR. It's not great at long range, but up close and mid range it's very, very good and lethal. In my opinion, not better as an AUG, like I said, but I think it gives you some flexibility to run 3 heal as opposed to having to do striker, SMG, and the AUG. Now, as you would expect, most of the things that Epic does usually does not make sense, and most of this season is more of what they didn't do that makes it kind of just, I would say, a mid-tier season at this current moment. They've done a lot of good stuff, at least overall with competitive, but the meta is the biggest issue. We're still dying over and over to SMG spray. The nerf with 1 damage was not that impactful, as to be expected. The problem has always been the clip size combined with the fire rate. The damage was really nothing that was just crazy overpowered. That was never ever the problem. And so to see another season of playing striker pump with combat SMG and AUG at long range and 2 heals, that's just unfortunate, and a lot of competitive players are frustrated that they didn't change that. Another thing I will say is that even though the changes have been good and the fact that they've been tweaking, this is a mobility-less season in terms of in end games in competitive. There's nothing that's going to help you in a max pull zone. There's no launch pads. They took away shockwaves. They took away rifts, which I think, in my opinion, rifts should have never ever been competitive. They're broken. They're low skill items that just don't require any knowledge for rotation. Shocks are kind of the same way, but they're not as bad. I think the answer has been staring them in the face for a competitive balanced movement. Launch pads, sure, overpowered, but at least they make sense and everyone can reuse them. Bouncers, I think, are, if you want something that's frequent and that allows you to actually survive max pull zones, it just don't see any way possible that you're going to be able to survive unless you have a grappler, which there's very few spawns on the map, and it's very, very slow, and there's only 10 charges, so it's not seeing a great amount. Now, the borers are great for movement, however, they're so easy to kill, more than likely they're not going to survive even to an end game. So just, this is going to be a mobility-less season. It's going to be very RNG on pulls, on zones, and I do commend them trying to make changes overall with the preseason, but I think they've just kind of overdone it a little bit, and maybe hopefully there'll be some mobility changes, because as of right now it's looking very, very bleak and very, very RNG based on what zone you get, how you're going to succeed, especially in solos as opposed to most other seasons where there's a good amount of mobility available. I think also other things that competitive players are frustrated about, and this goes back to my point that things they're not doing. Most of the competitive community has wanted late game arena in forever, myself included. It was such a fun game mode. It was a great way to get kind of over the boringness of arena, and due to the fact that there's very limited mobility now with no cars in arena, just arena games die out so fast, everyone's just dropping hot. Drop POIs. I mean, there's times where we finished games even in third zone and team modes. It's unfortunate that there's not another alternative competitive option. Late game arena is fantastic. It is a shame they haven't put any stake in it, because competitive players have wanted it forever. But as soon as the no build just takes off and successful, everyone loves it. Just like almost everyone loved late game arena. They invest money into it, put a bunch of stuff in it, and late game arena is not even, basically not even a concern or just a thought, even though we've been claiming for it. Another thing, again, that we're very upset that the teams didn't do, or the Epic devs didn't do, is these daily duo cash cups. I remember this was one of the most fun seasons in the game, playing daily duo cash cups in the summer. Instead, we got these just prizeless lightning cups that are for nothing, that are just weird formats that no competitive player is really going to enjoy or play. Maybe good for casuals, but they also have no build cash cups, so it's just kind of a little bit confusing why they didn't go back to that. It was so fun being able to get up every day, play a Fortnite tournament with something on the line. Even if you didn't win, it was good practice to get in that mode. And it's just unfortunate that that was kind of promised, and we got like the watered down garbage version with the lightning cups. Another thing that competitive players are just kind of disappointed with this season, I know a lot of people want a reworked rank system. We did not get that. It's the exact same rank system. Now, I understand why Epic doesn't want to rework the rank system, because if you have this rank system that's super split up, and putting all champs players with all champs players. Now, I know this is hard to believe, but less than 1% of all Fortnite players actually make it to Champions Division. I know that's kind of a hard statistic to believe, but it's actually true. Most people play this game casually, and I think the biggest fear is with queue times. If you make a super duper just kind of split up rank system, like elites, like tier 1 pros with tier 1 pros, like it would be great for the tier 1 pros, but I mean, queue times would be ridiculous. There would be no competitive game mode to play. And I think the counter to that is, if you want to change the rank system, put late game and arena in there and not make it have that rank system. I think that's a great kind of compromise and way to balance, to change the rank system and give people an option if they don't want to go in and just, you know, sweat in a scrim style environment. Go let them play in a key style environment, which late game arena was, which allows people to get clips. It's good for content, all that stuff, especially with the SMG spray meta. You know, montages is definitely on YouTube and creative have just not been hitting as well as they used to. And then nerfing even creative now, 200 pumps not being in the game. Usually if you hit a max damage shot, you know, you have to hit a couple AR shots, and it just doesn't look visually aesthetically as good for the creative community as well. So maybe that's another balance they could work in. Now, I'm going to get on my soapbox here, because I'm about to talk about one specific thing that they've added this season that I hate more than anything, I think, in recent memory. And that is the two-shot shotgun. This shotgun just is the worst idea or executed idea ever. It hits for nothing. It's super clunky. It is worse than every other gun, in my opinion, that's in the up close range category, maybe besides the Magnum. But at least the Magnum consistently hits hard. It is clunky. It has a long reload time. It does very little damage. You have to hit 2 shots when people are moving, so it almost never hits super hard unless you're just up and close. 2-shot is maybe the worst gun in the history of the game. I cannot stand it. It is my least favorite gun they've ever added. I literally will never take it. Even if I'm off spawn with an SMG or an AR, I will take a hammer AR over it. I do not want that gun anywhere near me, and it needs to be reworked to make it at least semi-competitive. You don't see a single pro using it. Striker is definitely better. The auto with its buff is significantly better as well. It may be just one of the worst weapons of all time. It needs a gigantic rework. Now, overall, that's kind of my opinion on just some of the very specific things. I think this season has potential, and if they continue to try and tweak and make changes, I can respect that because it's something that we haven't gotten. But overall, the meta just needs to change. That's the biggest thing. People are so sick and tired of playing this spray BS meta. Just come on. Just get away from the SMGs. That's all Chapter 3 is. It's made SMGs as primary for the most part. That's what your finisher is. Your shotgun should be your finisher for the most part. Use your AR to basically, I don't know. It's just very frustrating that we've already kind of had the same-ish type of meta for an entire chapter and nothing's changed. And they've done a good job of trying to keep things fresh with the map changes and listening with the competitive community. But overall, if you change the meta, I think you would have a very, very happy competitive community to go hand in hand with the more casual community with this no build. I think that Fortnite's doing great in that regard. I'm not going to comment too much on the video, but I think overall this season, if they tweak the meta, maybe add a little bit more ability, it can definitely improve and we can be in the up and up. But that is going to do it for today's video, guys. I hope you did enjoy. If you did, drop a like on this video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on post notifications. And I hope I'll be seeing you in the next one. Peace.